Here's Precalc 7-36. It says, given the graph of the piecewise defined function below, complete the following limit statements or state that the limit does not exist. So if you were absent on the day that we learned about limits, the way they described limits to us in our book was they had little beetles or little bugs, both approaching from the left and the right, and the limit was where they think they're going to meet. So you'll hear us talking about that in class. But basically, let's just look at these and see. So this is asking for what is the limit of f of x as our x approaches negative infinity. So in other words, if I was a little bug and I was approaching negative infinity, which means I have to be going that way, what would my y value approach? Like we can imagine, we can use our imagination. Well, it looks like it's getting lower and lower. Looks like it's going to flatten out. I would say that it approaches 0, and you can see the answer right there. That's true. The reason I'm saying it approaches 0 is because when we're taking limits, we're looking at where does the y value tend to, or where does it look like it's heading. Okay, this y value, as I go closer and closer to infinity, I can imagine that my y value is going to get lower and lower, kind of like there's an asymptote or something right there. So that's why the limit is 0. So on the next one, the limit of f of x is just the name that they gave this function of this graph. We don't have any equation for it or anything. We just got the picture. So that it's saying the limit as x approaches -2, and then when you have this negative sign on the right-hand side of your number, that is trying to tell you that we're approaching -2 from the left. If there's a little plus next to it, you're approaching from the right. So they have to tell you what way you're approaching from. If they don't, then you have to assume you're approaching from both sides. Okay, so for this one, we're going to approach -2 from the left. So we're going to find -2. And we're going to approach it from the left. What do our y values tend toward? Like the closer we get to -2, the closer this graph gets to 2. So that's why the answer is 2 there. And in this one, we're going to approach -2 from the right. Well, if you approach from the right, like say you're a little bug and you're approaching from the right, you have to come this way to approach -2 from the right. So you're actually going to end up at a different y value than if you were to approach from the left. You're going to end up at 3. So that's why they have 3. Now, we've learned in our book that when you approach an x value from the left and the right, and you don't end up with the same limit, if the limit is a different limit when you approach from the left as the limit when you approach from the right, then we say DNE, it does not exist. The limit doesn't exist. The two bugs, as they approach each other, are not going to meet in the same spot. So we say the limit doesn't exist. And that's what's happening here. Because they didn't denote with a negative or positive right here that you're approaching, which way you're approaching -2. You're meant to read this as the limit of f of x as x approaches -2, well, from both ways. So it doesn't, it's a different place. You have to tell me if I'm going from the left or the right. It does not exist. And then letter E, limit as x approaches +2. And you'll see there's no little plusy or minusy right here. So they're wanting us to approach from both directions, the right and the left. And no, even if I approach from the left, I end up with 3. If I approach from the right, I also end up with 3. So the answer is 3. If x approaches infinity, well, I'd have to be coming this way. Now, this one, the limit is negative infinity because it appears to be linear right here, as though it down, 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 down. This one appeared to have like a curve in it, as though it were going to flatten out. So that's why we said this one approached 0. But this one is going down. It looks like it's going to head right straight through the x-axis and go to negative infinity. So that was the long answer.